Hello, hello, hello everybody. Hello kids. How you guys doing today? I'm hoping you're having an awesome day today. I'm Charlie Newton, your art teacher today, and this is Splash Live. So glad to have you with us today. Well, we have an exciting class today. Every time I do this project with kids, we have a lot of fun. You're going to have a chance to use your imagination. You're going to get a chance to paint and do even a little bit of drawing. We're going to use triangles, rectangles, and circles. We may use a circle, may not, but mostly triangles, right triangle, left triangle, and a rectangle or rectangular shape. And what we're going to draw today is we're going to draw and paint a seascape with a sailboat in it. And I'm going to leave it up to you about whatever creatures you want in the water or what creatures you want in the air. But we're going to create this together, okay? So I'm going to be painting from my imagination, and you're going to paint from your imagination as well. So if you are ready, let me show you the materials that you're going to need. You're going to need a paintbrush. You will need a wide paintbrush like this one, and you will need a round brush like this, and you may need another medium-sized flat brush or bright like that one. You will also need your watercolor trays and your paper, watercolor paper, and a pencil, any pencil you want. Okay, well, if you're ready, I am. Let's get started. So first we need a sheet of paper. Need a clean sheet of paper. Use your watercolor paper, which is heavy grained. My Splash students, you have a mixed media pad, and when you tear the sheet out of your pad, you'll see these ruffled edges here. Just fold and tear. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do a seascape. And the first thing I want you to do is lightly draw a horizon line. You're going to hold your pencil like this on the end because we're just sketching, and you're going to draw a line straight across the center of your paper. It can be a little lower than center or higher. Now, I think I'm going to want my seascape to be a little wavy, so I'm just going to put some lumps and bumps. I'm not going to make it even. Okay, so this is what we call the horizon line. And the horizon line is as far away that your eye can see. It's where the sky meets the earth. And so on this horizon line is where you will lose your vision. Your vision ends there. And on our horizon line, we're in the ocean, and so I just want some wavy waters. And we're going to put, if you want to, now your seascape could be day or night. I think mine will be in the daytime because I want you to get used to painting daylight with your watercolors. And I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to actually put the sun in the sky. This could easily be the moon. And I may decide not to use that later. But if you want to, you can put the sun in the sky. You can put, like if you're painting a night scene, you can put the moon that has set on the water. You know, do it any way you want to. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to draw a sailboat. And to draw the sailboat, you're going to need to know how to make triangles. First, we're going to do a left triangle, and I'm going to draw my sailboat on the right-hand side of the paper. I'm going to draw it pretty large, okay? And since I'm drawing it large, I'm going to place my sailboat closer to the bottom of the paper. Now, whatever is close to the bottom of your paper, it's going to appear to be closer to you, and you would draw that larger than an object that's more in the center or toward the top of your paper. So when you draw objects close to the bottom of your paper, in most cases, it will make it look like it's closer to you. And you draw those larger than objects that you want to look like it's far away. We'll do two sailboats. First, we'll do one in the right-hand corner. I'm going to draw a left triangle. So the left-hand side of the triangle is a straight line. And then instead of making a line that goes like this, the mirror image, you're going to draw a line straight down. See? A slanted line that's leaning to the right, then draw a line straight down, then draw the bottom of that triangle and connect those. That's one of the sails in the sailboat. Now I'm going to draw a right triangle, and I'm going to draw a straight line, a horizontal line, a perpendicular line straight up and down right next to this line. And I'm going to make this triangle a little lower than the left triangle. This is the right triangle. I made this one a little smaller too. So those are the sails of your sailboat. We'll do another sailboat, and we'll put the wind in the sail if you want to, because some of you may want to do that. Now, well, you see this straight line here and this perpendicular line here? We can actually extend this line and put a flag on the top, like that. Now we're going to draw the boat itself. We're going to place that under these sails, a straight line. And then down at the bottom of that, another straight line. And a slanted line on the left-hand side, a slanted line on the left-hand and right-hand side, the ends of the boat. And I like to put a little point there. That's your basic sailboat. You can also, let's do this, on a lot of sailboats, you will see a line like this that goes out here to this, I forgot what this is called. Yeah, something like that. And that might have a flag on it too. It may have flags on it. Like, now if I put the flags on this side, then it wouldn't look right because the wind is blowing that way. That's your basic sailboat. Let's go over here and draw another sailboat. And we can do this sailboat, draw it a little higher than this one. A little higher up on your page. And we're not going to draw as large as this one. We're going to make it a little smaller on the left-hand side. So let's do a left triangle again. And this time we're going to do another straight line. as if we're going to do a right triangle, but this time we're going to bend the right hand side of that triangle. We're going to bend it like a backwards C. And then we're going to bend a line here like that. You may want to draw your sailboat like that to make it look like it's in the wind. The wind is pushing it. And we're going to do the same for the boat proper as we did the other one, a rectangle with lines that slant inward. Okay, from here you can do whatever you want to. Now if I want, do you notice how, I'm moving the paper a lot. Do you notice how this boat appears to be behind this boat? It's because I made this boat slightly smaller than this one. Now, if I want a boat way in the distance, I'm going up even higher on the page. And do a tiny, a teeny tiny sailboat. Made it much smaller. So you see how it looks like this boat is in the distance behind these two boats? I want you to draw some sailboats, 2 or 3, 4 or 5. You can draw an armada. You know what an armada is? It is like a group of sailboats sailing together. And this is what I like to do. Every time I draw boats, I like to draw some little lines on the bottom like this, some little wavy lines to make it look like the boat is moving on the water. Now we're going to paint this, so we don't have to do a lot of drawing on this, but when you paint, remember to be careful. When you paint around the boat, use your small brush. Matter of fact, we'll do it together. You can put, I like waves. This is how you draw waves. Do a line to go up like that and down like that, up and down. You can make the water look a little choppy, but we're going to paint the waves anyway. Whatever you think looks like waves, okay? I'm sketching, so I'm not drawing too heavy since I'm going to paint the picture anyway. Let's put some, I want to put some birds in the sky. One way to draw birds is to draw it like little M's that's been flattened out. We could also draw a bird more realistically, but I see these birds as being in the distance. And I'm making these little marks smaller and smaller. I may paint those out later. If I forget about they're there, once I start painting, I could paint those out without thinking about it. Let's put some clouds in the sky. The clouds, you have to be creative with clouds. They can be wavy. Don't just line them up on the top of the paper. And don't draw clouds like this. Don't make it look like a cotton ball. So clouds can be all types of shapes. When you look up in the sky, and notice I let this cloud just go off the page. So we don't have to try to fit things in the paper. You can let your lines run off the page. It makes it look more realistically. Realistic. That's a realistically. Okay. Now I'm going to leave the sun there. So my suggestion is that you could paint, if we had white paint, you could paint the sun white, or you could leave the sun white. That would look more realistic. A lot of people like to use the yellow, so I'm going to use yellow. So I'm just going to get my round brush, small round brush. And I know most of you guys want to paint the sun yellow. So I dip my brush into the water, and then I dip it into the yellow paint. I'm going to make sure that I keep all of these colors clean. So So I'm going to clean my brush in between each color. So I'm using my small brush so that I can control this circle. See, paint slow and with control. You could have left the paper for white, and the sun could be white, and it would definitely look like a realistic sun. But for what we're doing, that's not necessary. We're not really drawing realistic. We're drawing, this is more like a cartoon. And it's more like an idea because we're using our imagination. Now, for the clouds, we're going to leave the white of the paper for the clouds, okay? So do not paint the clouds. When the next semester, we're going to paint in, we're going to use tempera or acrylics. I haven't decided yet. It depends on what we can get. But then we will have white paint, and then you can paint with white. If you have different size brushes at home, you can choose a brush that's not too wide. Say, I don't want to use this brush because I want to be able to go around my clouds with control. And I don't want to use this brush because it's too small and I won't be able to finish my picture. So choose the right brush. And Iantha, can they see this paint tin?
Yes.
They can see the whole thing?
Yes.
They can? Okay. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to, we're going to use a lot of water. We're going to dip, we're going to clean the yellow. Well, you have a different brush, so you shouldn't have any paint on your brush. And we're going to dip, I'm going to dip my brush into the blue. And then I'm using my paint tin because I want a thin coat of blue. I don't want it to be heavy and thick. If your blue is too heavy and thick, it's going to look like it's nighttime. If you want your picture to be at night, then you can paint directly from the blue paint to the paper. But if you want it to look like it's day, we need to allow the paper, the white of the paper, to show through. So the paint needs to be thin. So see that? See how watery that is, how thin that is? That's what I want. And I'm going to brush this paint on, paying close attention to what's happening. And I want to see the white of the paper show through. Do not paint over your clouds. Paint around your clouds. See? Use your drawing. Whenever we draw, the drawing is the foundation of the painting. So if you draw before you start painting, use the drawing. Don't forget that you have a drawing here, and your drawing tells you how to paint the picture. See, the paper is showing through because I'm putting a blue wash on the paper. Now I'm going to show you a little trick that will make this look nice. The white between this blue here and the water, the blue that I put there is going to be even thinner than what I'm putting here up in the sky. It's going to be even thinner. I want to show some transitions. Now, when you get over here to the sun, don't let the blue paint get into the yellow paint because it will turn it green. So paint slow and careful. See how slow I'm going? Take your time. There's no rush. You don't even have to finish it today. You can finish it after this class is over with. So But keep the paint wet. Okay, don't let it dry on you. So now I want some very thin blue now. Watch this. I want some very thin blue. So I can show a transition as we get close to the water. See how thin that is? I don't want the sky, the blue in the sky, to be so flat that it looks heavy. I want it to look thin so that you can see the birds, and that I want it thin enough for a plane to fly through it. Now, I'm going to stop painting for a minute to let this dry. I want to draw some more. So, you may still be painting. Go ahead and paint, and you can sort of listen to me and watch me as well. I want you to create something in your ocean. So one thing that you can create, I'm going to put some sharks down here. All I have to do is just use a triangle, a left triangle. Then show the shark is swimming. I'm going to do another one behind that. Remember, whenever I go up higher, it makes it look like it's behind whatever's lower on the paper. If I want something to be very close, I'll make it even larger. So I like putting this water trail. So I placed 3 sharks. I'm going to draw a dolphin somewhere. Let's put a dolphin here. I don't know if I can draw a dolphin without looking at one, but the shape is kind of like this. And the dolphin has a fin too, sort of like a shark's fin, but we imagine dolphins jumping out of the water. Thinking about Flipper. You may be able to draw dolphins better than me, because I don't think I've ever drawn one.
A bit of a snap, don't they?
What type of snap?
Kind of a beak sort of thing.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Then the flipper, I think.
Right. Okay. There you go.
Yeah, something like that.
There you go. Yeah. Thank you, Ayantha. Ayantha's my wife. She's an artist as well. Now I'm going to put a whale in the water. So I'll put one back here, and you can draw the whale as big as you want it to. I'm going to put a tail, because it's hard to capture those, to see those. They come up out of the water and they go back in so fast. How about that? And some of you may draw some little turtles or crabs or whatever, or fish. Just put something in the water. I'm going to put a life vest here. I don't know, maybe somebody fell overboard. Okay, we're going to say somebody fell off of this boat. I'm going to draw a little figure waving. That figure is waving at you. Those little circles that they use for a life. What is it called? A life preserver?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. You can barely see that figure. You can put somebody on the boat. I'm going to put somebody sitting down on the boat. Just a silhouette of a person. You don't have to have a lot of detail. Okay, just have fun. I'm just doing this so that you guys can see what you can do. Some sailboats are very beautiful, and they have stripes on them, on the sails, and different color sails as well. I'm going to put a circle on this one and the image of a sun. So do it however you want to do it. This is water falling off the whale's tail. So the main thing is to have fun. Please, when you finish this painting, send me a picture, especially Splash Kids. Send me a good picture. Just put the camera right over the paper and shoot the picture. Put your phone, you can use your phone, place it right over the paper so that I'll have a good image. I would love to see what you're doing. And I could give you some pointers as well. Now, for the ocean, I'm going to try something. I want the ocean to be aqua. So aqua is blue and green. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to dip my brush into the green paint and place it over. I'll just place it over here. Make sure you see that. I'm going to put a lot of paint over here because I have to paint half of this sheet of paper. So sometimes you have to think about. Now, if you have to remix the color, sometimes you can run into problems. And then since I want it to be aqua, I'm going to mix some blue, a little bit of blue with the green until I get blue-green. And see, I have a very dark blue-green here. That might be too blue, I don't know. We can see. We can see what it looks like. I can always add more green. I always shake my brush off in the water. And you can clean your brush. Make sure there's no green on it to get more blue or more green. Oh yeah, I was gonna add more green. I'm not sure how I want this, how dark I want the ocean. Probably want it kind of dark. But I don't want the ocean, okay, I don't want it to look like this because that's too green. I want it to look more blue. So I'm gonna get more blue paint. So remember, you have control and you can always fix things. The first color that I had was the best, the best one. So let's see how this looks. I'm going for blue-green, so I want it to look blue. And look at how I'm going to do this. Do you remember the marks I made? This is the easiest way for me. You don't have to do it my way. But for me, it's easier. I can see what I'm doing. I'm just going to first do those little marks I drew for the water. I'm going to draw those first. See, I don't make up my mind so fast when I'm making art. I have to see what's happening. So watch how I'm doing this. So if I make a wave like this, I can also do some lines underneath the wave like that so that it actually looks like a wave. And I can leave a little white area to make it look like the caps of the waves. And as we go further back, the waves can become darker, further back or higher up on the page. If I make it a little darker than what I paint down here at the bottom of the page, it might make it look like it's receding or going back in space. It may make it look a little bit more three-dimensional. But I'm leaving caps for waves. I'm not in a hurry to paint this. I want to see what's happening. Because when you're using your imagination, you're using your memory, your mind to remember things. And sometimes, well, with me, the older you get, the harder it is to remember. So I'm mixing some more blue-green. Now I can fill the white in as much as I want to later. It's easier to fill the white in But you cannot, once you paint the white, then it's lost forever with watercolors. So I'd rather go back in. See how I'm using blue and green? So right now, the closer we get to the bottom of the page, the more green I'm going to use. It's still blue-green, but it's more of a green, so that it's sort of like there's more light. Your eyes can pick up more light the closer it is to you. Try to paint the entire picture at once. Now when you get to the boat, be careful. Don't paint the sails out. Leave the sails white for now. Paint in between the sails, see? I'm using the corner of my paintbrush. You can also you can get your round brush, your thin brush, to paint the little areas behind the boat, between the sails. See how I'm using my small brush? So I can paint those little areas without messing up, without painting over what I don't want to paint. So I'm going to add some more blue to my green and go back here and start painting. Take your time. Think of water. I'm actually thinking in my mind of the ocean. And I'm watching everything I'm doing. I'm looking at it closely. Now, the more you paint, the longer you paint, you'll be able to do that better. You understand what I'm talking about. I'm watching every stroke that I do. You older students who are 14 up to 19, you should be able to do this. You should be able to pay close attention to what you're doing. And most older students do take their time. See, I can mix, see how green this looks? I can also dip it in the blue, add a little bit more blue, and put that under the green. But in my mind, I'm thinking ocean. In my mind, this is not a drawing or a painting. By the way, technically speaking, watercolors is not considered painting. It's considered drawing because you use some of the same techniques. The way you apply the paint is similar to the way you draw. And that's why a lot of watercolors, we started with pencil and we finish it with paint. And many times you can use the pencil lines in your watercolors because the watercolors are translucent and you can see through them. You see how I'm leaving these waves, but I can go back, and you always try to paint the entire picture at the same time. Don't just paint in one area. Go back, and when you do that, you can give it continuity. So I'm filling in some of these white areas here in the background to help this this ocean recede. And I'm going slow enough as far as my application or putting the way I'm putting down the paint. I'm not just painting like that and not thinking. I'm going slow enough to make decisions about what I want to leave white and what I want to cover. So if I don't have so much white back here, up here in this area, it's going to look like it's receding. Also, I believe if I use more blue, it's going to make it look, the water is going to look dense like the ocean. And that's what I want to happen now. Now your picture do not have to look exactly like mine. We all are individuals and we are all unique. And that's what's wonderful about being an artist or making art. And you are, I picture you as young artists. You know, your work is not supposed to look like everybody's work. Now think water. I'm going a lot deeper here with my blue because that's the way I paint. You don't have to do that. Okay, you don't have to do it this way. I'm just showing you some techniques that you could use that might be useful. Everybody have their own way of seeing, and everybody has their own way of expressing themselves. So I just want to give you some basic techniques that will help you along the way. And whenever you're making art, don't be hard on yourself. Don't judge yourself harshly. I'm going to cover up some more white in the background here. That's just how I want to do it. But do you see how I'm going through different stages and I can make changes and decisions? See, we never know what it's going to look like until we finish. So if you leave yourself room to make decisions, then you have a good chance of doing something wonderful. Now, even though I'm doing a blue-green ocean, when you do this on your own, you might decide you want your ocean to be orange. That's what the Impressionist artists would have done. They would have had all kinds of colors, red, yellow, orange in the ocean. We're going to show you some Impressionist artwork in the coming days so you can see what I'm talking about. They painted light and they painted their impression of what they saw. Okay, so let's get creative. I'm not going to talk too much to you now. I want you to go ahead and paint your picture, paint your boat. Get creative with your colors. I'm painting the sun. I did a picture of the sun on this boat here. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to want you to do this. When I finish painting, I'm going to go back and redraw. And I want you to do that because I want you to use the lines. Even though I can see my lines, I want you to see what happens when you redraw. Trace over what you've already drawn. You don't have to do that so much in the sky. But as far as the boat and the animals, I'm going to want you to redraw. I want some orange stripes on my boat. So I'm going to clean out an area. I'm going to put some orange here, but I don't like the orange that's in my tray. I'm going to add some yellow to it. Now you have to get used to watercolors. Most artists say that the hardest medium is watercolors. And they say that because it's unforgiving. What they mean by that is that it's hard to go back and change mistakes. Maybe they're right, I'm not sure, but I really like watercolors. And I've been painting with watercolors most of my life, so I'm sort of used to it. But the thing about watercolors is they should look like water, okay? Because there's beauty in the material. I'm going to put some red. I'm going to put some red on one of my sails. Why not? I think I'll make it red-orange. Mix some red with orange. So it's red, but not so bright. So it's going to look like a dark orange, sort of. That's too dark, so I'm going to stop. So when you see something, you have to watch what you're doing. And we're always making decisions. I'm going to stop, blot that out. And do it again. I want it to be more orange. See if this works. Yep, that's okay. I had too much water in that one, so I just dapped my brush in my paper towel to get some of the water off. Yes, watercolors should look like water. When we do a realistic watercolor painting, watch how I'm going to make it look like water. And that's the beauty of it. I'm going to use brown for one of my boats. This boat here, I'm going to use brown. And I think I'll use purple for that one. Now I'm going to paint the flags. See, notice I'm using my small brush. That flag is going to be red. I'm going to make this one red, dark red. I don't know what color I want my sharks, but I'm just going to, for now, I'm going to make them red. Then I'll probably put some brown on them or blue. You can leave it red if you want to. Paint some of my flags orange. So right now you can get very creative with your color. See, I'm going to put some green on this boat back here in the background. Make that boat green. See, I'm going to make my little man sort of, I'm using red very thin. And for my dolphin, I'm going to use a little blue and just kind of outline it a little bit. The belly of the dolphin is going to be white. And then I'm going to trace right there, see? And for my whale, I think I'll use blue as well. I might mix it. I could mix it, yeah, I think I'll mix it with the green. I think I'll make him a little bit blue-green or dark green. No, that didn't work, so I'm going to make him a little bit darker. Let's see what purple does. I'm resisting using black paint. There's other ways to make something look dark. I could mix red and brown or red and green, and it would actually look black. So purple is okay. Purple works. Matter of fact, I'm going to put some of this purple in the water. I like it that much. See how you can mix paints? So now I'm just going on my instincts, my intuition. You know, what would make this look like a picture, a painting, a finished painting? So I'm always thinking about balance. and composition. And since I had purple in the tail of the whale, I want some purple somewhere else in my painting to give it visual balance. So putting it in the background here, you know, it looks like a dark, your eye reads it like a dark blue. See that purple there? See how heavy that is? But it reads it like a dark blue. Now normally when I actually paint, I paint very fast. And I paint using nothing but what I've learned over 50 years. So I don't think about it too much. Actually, when I start thinking, it gets me into trouble. But I've been painting so long that I can do a lot of things without thinking about it. So anyway, you just want colors to, you know, you just want to be generous when you introduce a color. You don't want that color out there by itself all the time. But you do it how you want to do it. You may decide to use orange in the water. It's perfectly fine. Paint it any way you want to. I'm going to put a little bit of brown on my whale just to make him a little darker. Okay, so now I want to show you about tracing. How many minutes we have left, Iantha? 10?
3. Sorry. Yeah, 10.
Okay, this is, especially if you are 5 to 8 years old, I really want you to get this. Once you finish your painting, I want you to go back over your picture. Let your paint dry. My paint is not too dry now. You know, I wish I had my blow dryer. But I want you to go back and just trace your drawing. My paper is still damp, but I think you can see what's happening. If this paint was dry, my pencil marks would go on really nice. I just want to make sure that you can see your drawing. Because why go through all the effort to make a drawing and then paint it out? I didn't paint this flag here, so I'm going to paint that. I don't know what color yet. I think I'm going to use purple to paint this mast. I didn't paint any of the mast, so I'm using the tip of my round brush. And it's hard to paint the mast, so you don't have to do this. But if your hand is pretty steady, you can paint the mast. I think I'm going to make this flag red. So that you can see it. I'm going to put some red in the whale's, in the brown on the whale's tail. A little bit in the water. So I have been influenced a lot by the Impressionist artists. So my instincts want me to put a lot of color in the water right now. And I'm trying to fight my instincts. I'm going to go back and trace the birds in the sky so you can see them. Make them a little darker. Take your time when you trace them. Now the ones that's behind the smaller birds, I'm not going to trace. and it makes it look like, see, a heavy line makes the thing look closer to you. The lighter line makes it looks like it's further away. I'm going to trace my whale's tail. So as you practice and get used to painting, I suggest that you try to learn how to draw with your paintbrush. So on just the tip of my brush is touching the paper, just the tip. And look how dark that makes it look. I want the whale to look heavy. Now I'm just going to go, this is purple. I'm just going to do that. So that looks very heavy, and that's what I want. Because the whale is something that's, you know, and let me show you something else I can do. If I use this dark color and put a little bit here, a little bit there, and it gets wider, it looks like the whale has just emerged under the water. I just saw that, and so I decided, I'll just show you. You don't have to do this, but one day you will do it. And so it's just something fun to do. I'm going to use purple for this guy that I have, or girl. I don't know what it, if it's a guy or a gal in the boat. I'm going to trace the boat. I'm putting some, making the boat, half of it's going to be a little bit darker purple. So when you make your art, do details last. You notice I'm doing all the details last. I'm going to go back to my brown, put a little bit heavier brown on this boat, but I'm not going to paint the entire boat. I'm just to let the heavy brown fade into the light brown. And I'm going to paint some brown over my red sharks to make it a little darker. Sharks would probably be the color of the whale, but I'll leave my red sharks here. So,
5 minutes or 6 minutes.
okay. You know, we've just about done this one. I'm actually going to, you don't have to do this again until you get a little bit more skill, but I'm just going to trace with some paint now, my pencil lines, because I just like paint. So I'm not going to trace everything, just some things. Oops, see, that was a mistake. I fixed it. So when you make a mistake, fix it. So I had water in my brush, but no paint. So I'm just doing little details now. Remember, I said I like to show water lines trailing behind the boat and the sides of the boat. Make it look like, hopefully it look like the boat is moving. I'm just tracing with purple, because purple is a dark color. Okay, now the most important thing is that you put your name on your picture, usually lower left-hand corner or lower right-hand corner. I'm going to put my initials. And for kids, put your age as well. Put your first name, last name, and age. So we have a couple of more minutes, and I want to remind you of something that's very important now. And I'm looking for my mask. Oh, there it is. Could you hand me my mask, Ayantha?
Oh, here it is.
So, kids, remember that when you go outside, you should look like this. When you go outside, you should look like this. I can't see that. It changed. So, do what?
We are on YouTube. Whole
Oh,
series of
great.
them on YouTube.
So, when you go outside, mask up. Put on your mask. So, what the mask do is it protects your nana, your grandpa, and it has been a pleasure drawing and painting with you today. This has been Charlie Newton with Splash. And remember, art is for everyone. Have a good week.